9/11/2019. Guys, you're looking at the 5-day graphical outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We've got these two storms that are one of 20 and one of 30% chance of developing out in the Atlantic. But this one we got to pay attention to first. It's now been upgraded to a 60% chance of cyclone formation within 5 days. It says limited development of the system is anticipated today or tomorrow. However, conditions are forecast to become a little more favorable for development over the weekend, and a tropical depression could form as the disturbance moves slowly toward the west-northwest across the Florida Straits or South Florida and over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Regardless of development, the disturbance could produce periods of locally heavy rainfall and gusty winds over the Bahamas, is what they're talking about, and South Florida. And that's what these spaghetti models are indicating, guys. So you've got two that cross on the Mississippi-Alabama line. You've got two that cross in the Florida Panhandle. And the purple line, the TABD model, comes into Florida and curves back out into the Atlantic. Looking at the Canadian model in this one, there's two things that stick out. One is you've got your timing. September 4th, the system's into the Gulf itself. By the 15th, it's approaching the Florida Panhandle and strengthening. But it's making a left. It's not coming straight north here. It's doing a north-northwest or to the left pattern and coming in across the state of Mississippi. This is, notice your timestamp, the 15th. By the 16th, it's ashore. You're going to be, looks like New Orleans will be affected all along that section of the Mississippi-Louisiana border. Then it curves up. But what happens, notice when it does this, look coming in to the Caribbean. We got major problems with these two Atlantic storms, and one of them is going to be very strong. We've been talking about this from the time they came off the African coast. Again, we're going to the global forecast model, GFS, at the top. Pretty much the same path. The first storm goes a little further to the west and up the Mississippi River instead of central Mississippi here. But again, the timing is about the same. Notice that. But this second storm, guys, coming in, watch this. Sudden strengthening in the hot water. That's going to be a monster if this model holds together. Now, it's not the only one showing the strengthening. Again, the first one was the Canadian model. Now the global forecast system models. Look at that as it rolls through the Caribbean. Bam. Up, rapid strengthening. Then across the northern Florida peninsula. And the European model is very close to this. It shows a second storm tracking a little further north than, again, here's the Gulf storm coming in. Here's the ECM models. And by September 21st, the secondary storm, or the second storm, is very strong, wrapping up right there. And again, this one's north of Cuba, instead of coming in south of Cuba, right through the Straits. Now, this is the one it's the closest, and we have to watch now. It's getting some wind shear on the upper levels. These different satellite modes separate the surface. In this case, you've got white clouds near the surface, and the upper clouds where the sun is heating the storm are blue. And the rotation is just above the Puerto Rico, Haiti area. North of there, right into the southern Bahamas. And you saw the models. So, guys, we got to keep an eye on it. It went from a 30% chance yesterday into 40% yesterday evening late. Now we're at 60. So the best thing to do now is keep an eye on it, everyone. If you are in the Bahamas, if you're in southern Florida, keep an eye on the storm. We'll see what it does. We haven't had a major, let's say, heat outlet in the Gulf of Mexico this year, not a major storm like that. We saw Barry come in and bring a lot of flooding and a few tornadoes up through the south. But this storm and then the one behind it, guys, could be game changers. So I'm watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.